Geofencing, taking SMS marketing to the next level. Mobile devices are increasingly used for reading customer reviews, finding local businesses, and even shopping. Text messaging has traditionally been a communication method rather than an advertising channel, but that's starting to change. Geofencing is a new technology making it possible for businesses to closely target customers based on their current location, and it's showing great promise for brick-and-mortar businesses. Text messaging is widely used. A strong majority, 96% of smartphone users send and receive SMS, text, messages regularly, according to Practical E-commerce. And because consumers are using their mobile devices more frequently for commerce, it only makes sense for retailers to tap into the popularity of text messaging for advertising purposes. But there's one problem: sending out a mass text message can be pretty wasteful when you don't even know whether the consumers you're targeting are anywhere near your location. Some location targeting is possible by targeting consumers based in a certain area. But even that doesn't mean the customer is within a reasonable distance of the business when the advertisement is sent. That's where geofencing comes in, which creates a virtual perimeter that filters consumers based on their precise location at the time. That means retailers can send a last-minute deal notice to consumers within a 1-mile radius of a retail shopping center. Geofencing works. The evidence is pretty convincing that it works. Research from the PayPal Media Network found that convenience stores and gas stations saw a 68% increase in click-through rates using geofencing technology. The results aren't quite as stellar in other niches: 60% for financial services and 17% for big-box retailers, but there was an 8% increase overall. That means you might not boost click-through rates by nearly 70%, depending on your industry, but you are likely to see some increase. Research from Placecast finds that 53% of participating shoppers have visited a retail location after receiving a text-based message. Even more convincing is the fact that 50% of those who visited a retail location prompted by a text message say the visit was unplanned. Radius, supply, and demand. The effectiveness of a geofencing campaign is based on the perimeter, or radius. Certain types of businesses do better with a smaller radius, particularly when there's a lot of competition. Coffee shops, for instance, probably have multiple competitors within a 10-mile radius, so customers are less motivated to drive 5 extra miles to save 50 cents on a cup of coffee. But other types of businesses, such as specialty retail stores that don't have any competitors within the perimeter, can easily get away with a larger radius. That's because there's more motivation for a customer to drive 10 miles to take advantage of a deal they can't get it anywhere else. Anyway, SMBs opt for cost per lead or cost per call. Despite its promise, geofencing isn't yet catching on in the mainstream digital marketing realm. Small to medium-sized businesses, for instance, are opting to use geofencing technology primarily when it's bundled together with a digital advertising package rather than as a standalone initiative. And when they do opt for geofencing, they're going for a cost per lead or cost per call basis, which is a smart way to test out a new tactic as you're only paying for real leads. That said, the cost is typically a bit higher per lead or call simply because they're guaranteed. The added price levels out the playing field to cover the platform's cost associated with sending the messages that don't result in a lead. Offer good incentives for geofencing to be really effective. You have to have a few things going for you. First, the supply and demand scenario discussed above. If your niche is saturated with dozens of competitors within a few miles, you've really got to offer an incredible incentive to make it worth customers stopping in their tracks to visit. That means you need to make an offer that's difficult to refuse. In some cases, geofencing can even be used as a brand awareness tactic. For instance, a new coffee shop offering a premier flavor at next to nothing just to get customers in the door. It's a good way to generate awareness by bringing new customers in the door who have never visited your location before. You won't make a ton of money on the offer itself, but you've just given them an excellent first impression of your brand through exceptional service, and they'll be more likely to make a return visit. This is where an upsell incentive could also come into play. It works similar to any marketing deal: give something away practically free, and then make an additional offer that's impossible to refuse. You'll make your money on the upsell, not on the core offer. Geofencing is still relatively new. While more businesses experiment with the technology, creative marketers will come up with more innovative ways to capitalize on its potential for long-term benefits. If you're thinking of experimenting with geofencing, make sure you're qualifying your prospects based on supply and demand, and make an irresistible offer for the best results.